Servain's eyes coldly looked at the person who was swinging the knife at him. You are. Her arm reached out to block Arslad's blunt sword as it came down. A hand grasped Servain's shoulder. The suddenness caused Servain to lose focus, glancing at the hand and forgetting the blade. When she turned her head, she was extremely surprised by the appearance of the Demon King Jura. The Demon King smiled and gave a friendly greeting, "Hello there." But Servain's expression quickly returned to normal, only the veins on her face were bulging. Faced with Servain's attitude, Jura still teased, "My apologies, my magic is so powerful that anything I touch shatters, but a former Demon King wouldn't be like that, would they?" Servain didn't answer, her arm instantly transformed into a long, giant monster. Blood spurted from Servain's mouth, and her vision blurred. "This is bad, this is really bad." The scene shifted to Titania struggling to get up. She gritted her teeth in worry. "At this rate, everyone will be killed, even with a former Demon King on our side, the situation is extremely dangerous." Titania worried about Kotaro, unaware that he was still sleeping soundly. She resolved to find a way to save Kotaro at all costs. Servain and Arslad continued their fierce struggle. Servain controlled the monster with one hand while trying to use her magic, Hellfire Annihilation, Vacuum Wave Separation, and Ice Electric Burst. Faced with Servain's power, even the confident Titania was terrified. These were the strongest spells across all elements, all cast at once. His expression clearly showed astonishment. "I've never seen anyone with this kind of ability, so that's how I felt back then." Memories flooded back as Servain unleashed her magic. A blow came hurtling towards her, but she stood calmly, unmoved. "That's right." Or when Kotaro stood alone before Servain. Titania was astonished by the sight. So what the Demon King said 100 years ago was true. Titania's eyes widened in disbelief. At this moment, Servain was single-handedly sustaining 3 elemental systems. In the barren wasteland, a small figure sat in the center, surrounded by strangers. Arslad and Jura charged toward Servain, who quickly turned to face them, preparing to attack. Servain's monstrous arm was scorched and rendered useless. Jura laughed at Servain's pitiful state. How reckless, the level of destruction. Jura's eyes fixed seriously on her opponent. But at that level, you're still not a match for me, because I am a demon god, a being above the demons. Servain simply replied coldly, "Demon god." Titania struggled to crawl towards Kotaro, thinking, he used such a barrage of high-level magic and yet he's unharmed. It's useless. The only one who can face the Demon King now is Kotaro-sama. Titania called out, "Kotaro-sama." Kotaro, hearing someone call him, slightly opened one eye. His small hand trembled as he raised it. He gritted his teeth, forcing himself to move. "Damn body, move, you're my body." Kotaro's eyes were weary. "That girl has saved me countless times, now it's my turn." Titania, refusing to give up, reached out to get closer to Kotaro. She smiled. Wiping away her tears, Titania said, "Kotaro-sama, please don't forget that feeling." Kotaro opened his eyes in slight surprise. Servain glanced at them. Titania still maintained her stubbornness, all her remaining magic power, all focused on this one move. Her hand tried to appear a faint light around. Those were magic symbols. "Take it." The surrounding light became blinding, nothing could be seen. Even Servain was slightly surprised. And Jura was no exception. Titania cried out, pleading, "Demon King Servain, please take Kotaro-sama, he will change this world." Servain still showed no expression. Memories of Kotaro happily laughing and talking appeared, hating destruction, freedom. Servain softly called Kotaro-sama, accepting Titania's plea to take Kotaro with her. The light source still hadn't ended. Servain leaped from there, flying far away with Kotaro. Then the two of them vanished into the endless void. 3 others remained on that finger. A mysterious figure, sitting on a snail shell, lamented. "That means..." Her first body part appeared. Then her waist. Then her hips. Her expression was full of boredom. "He just ran away after I traveled so far. This is the 6th of the 10 devils, Ramgris." Hey, get your hand off, it's my turn to play." Another voice chimed in, "I won't lose in speed. This is the 5th of the 10 devils, Igni." He was about to start but was stopped by Jura. "Wait a minute. I think it's more interesting to pull that child to the demon clan's side. Let's use the other 2. One person was frozen. And Titania has now fainted. She's unconscious. why don't we fill the 2 empty seats with them? Another cry rang out, Puki. He didn't look human, this fellow, who looks like a ball, is the first of the 10 devils, slimy, he praised Jura, my lord demon king, you are truly ingenious. A pair of wings spread out in the sky, soaring through the air. Servain's wings fluttered everywhere. Kotaro slightly narrowed his eyes. Then his eyes widened. Before Kotaro's eyes was the vast, faraway sky. His gaze reflected the sky at that moment. Kotaro excitedly shouted, fly faster, Servain. The faster they flew, the more Kotaro enjoyed it. Amazing, wonderful. Wonderful, his eyes sparkled with a great longing for this. Servain remained coldly indifferent. Kotaro said admiringly, Demon King, how vast is this world, what lies at the end of the horizon? But Servain replied coldly, you're already full of curiosity just after arriving in this world, after all, this world is just a boring place. Servain's words couldn't diminish Kotaro's joy. Boring, what are you talking about, I'm so excited. He felt immense joy and exclaimed, freedom, it's amazing. Servain continued to fly. Her face showed no emotion, someone who used mysterious techniques to transcend the laws of nature and arrive in this world, so you came from another dimension. Her gaze gradually darkened, freedom, this is also my first time. You ask about what's beyond the horizon, Servain flew far away then said, beyond the horizon. Servain described it as the Dragon's Nest, a flying island that even the demon clan avoids. She described the Dragon's Nest in more detail, at the bottom of what's called the Abyss, legendary weapons, treasures, and something sleeping are said to exist, those who enter never return. There's also the World Tree that pierces the heavens, a tree so tall its top is unseen. She continued, this world is so vast that even I, the former Demon King, haven't explored it all. The farther they went, the more excited and eager Kotaro became, I want to go. As they flew, Servain mentioned their destination, right now, we're heading towards the Time Tower, inside, time can be easily manipulated. She glanced back, your weakness is that body. Kotaro stared blankly, confused. Am I right? Kotaro trembled and gritted his teeth. He became angry again, blaming himself, I'm so ashamed, I couldn't save them. Kotaro's eyes turned cold, we won't fall into danger again. Servain asked, confused, what do you mean? She didn't. Kotaro cut her off. He continued, I heard. The scene of Servain saving Kotaro from the explosion. And Jura stopping Igni, wait. She had a different plan, it's more interesting to lure that child towards the demon tribe, using those two. The Frozen One and Titania. As Servain carried him away, Kotaro looked back. He seemed unaware, yet angry. Servain smirked. It was evening, and Servain was still flying. They flew on. By sunrise, they reached the floating tower. Servain landed. She went to the door. Servain used her tail to put Kotaro down in front of the door. My help ends here, she said. Kotaro was surprised when he was let go. He curiously asked, where are you going, Demon King? I like being with you. Servain hadn't expected that, and she was flustered. She turned away, stammering, I also have a little feeling. About freedom. Kotaro was stunned again. She spread her wings and said, and don't call me Demon King anymore. You hate being controlled, right? Servain playfully said, I'm not a king anymore, call me Servain. As soon as Kotaro said that, she flew off. Kotaro shouted, take me flying again next time, Servain. Just then, someone emerged from the tower. He wondered, it's really the former Demon King, I can't believe it. She's completely different from 100 years ago. The image of Servain in the sea of fire flashed in his mind, her eyes back then were terrifying. He approached Kotaro and said, it's you, I saw everything inside. Fuma Kotaro and that person was one of the 4 great heroes, the magic golem BB-28. The Time Tower doesn't always fly in the sky. BB-28 walked and said, many people come here seeking their youth. He explained, so they started fighting each other to monopolize the tower, that's why I put it in the sky and guard it. Kotaro stared blankly. Seeing Kotaro's reaction, BB-28 continued, you see, after we defeated the Demon King, the hero Arslad asked me to defend this place. I was happy because I worried I had no concept of time, I was given a mission to protect this place. While BB-28 was talking, Kotaro reached out to BB-28. He mischievously climbed onto BB-28's head and patted it. BB-28 yelled, "Stop, what are you doing?" Kotaro pulled BB-28's head and laughed, "You have a strange hat." BB-28 pulled its head back, "Stop, you'll break it." Then it angrily kicked Kotaro away, "This is my face." BB-28 helplessly scolded, "What a rude child," but Kotaro just kept smiling brightly. BB-28 introduced himself and demanded, "I'm BB-28, the administrator of this tower. You must listen to me, this tower isn't for ordinary people." Kotaro sat properly, listening to BB-28's instructions. Even though he was the first person who wanted to age, he was no exception. He cheerfully asked, "So what do I have to do to enter this tower?" BB-28 vaguely replied, "It depends on you." Kotaro climbed up to BB-28's head again, patted his face, thanked the handsome rock head. There was no one outside the tower. Kotaro stepped into a darkness. He walked inside, confused by the darkness here. "What, this place is pitch black." BB-28 stood outside and said to him, "Good luck, Fuma Kotaro." BB-28's eyes suddenly lit up. Kotaro turned around, not understanding what was happening. A circle with various strange symbols and figures appeared where he stood. Kotaro looked down at his feet, utterly confused. A blinding light flashed, obscuring his face. A red streak, a spreading stain of blood. That was Kotaro holding a blade, impaling the now motionless figure beneath him. He breathed out a cold mist. What was this? Kotaro's eyes widened. He gasped, horrified by the memories. From that moment, stop, what had that person done? Two other people were watching Kotaro from atop the cliff. Jinan saw his appearance and laughed. Indeed, only two are left. The two remaining were Kotaro and his opponent. Kotaro's opponent was still standing after the fight. The masked men around them spoke, "The survivor will be the next leader. Kotaro's disciple is dead. They will fear the next Fuma Kotaro. We must choose wisely." The sword was stuck in the ground. The girl asked him, "What are you going to do?" Kotaro looked at her coldly and said, "You're the only one I can't kill." But the girl resolutely replied, "You still haven't killed your own mind. I won't show mercy, not even a little." Then, she disappeared. She appeared behind Kotaro, preparing to draw her sword. Kotaro was astonished. He hadn't expected this. A hand raised, stained with blood. Kotaro's eyes widened in surprise. He involuntarily said, "No." Kotaro's arm pierced the girl. The girl spoke, "Indeed, you are Fuma Kotaro." Kotaro's state still couldn't calm down. She said that on purpose. The girl smiled and said, "I don't need mercy. We are ninjas, merciless blades. Those who cannot kill will be killed." "But it's strange, isn't it?" Kotaro's tears fell. They fell. He cried when the girl said that those who could not kill their own hearts were the strongest. She continued, "No, because you didn't abandon your heart, I've always dreamed of freedom." Memories of the past surfaced. The girl still had an innocent look. Kotaro was the same back then. They had been close as children. Having said that, she smiled faintly. Her hand fell limp. Kotaro gritted his teeth, tears still falling. "I still haven't forgotten you. I still haven't forgotten our dream, the dream of freedom. But on my way I lost my heart. I gave up that impossible dream." The old man fell down. His head separated from his body. "But now, things are different. I have to enjoy this freedom for both of us." Memories of my old friend surfaced. "As well as for you." That magic circle was still active, sucking all the light inside. A body appeared. The small figure had grown taller. BB-28 praised him lavishly. It said, "Life is a series of hopeless battles. Those crushed by despair will be swallowed by darkness. Those who overcome despair and accept it deserve to live on. This world tower is made for only those who can overcome the deepest pain to use." Indeed, someone recognized by Hairi. BB-28 looked at Kotaro's appearance and couldn't help but admire him. Kotaro smirked and replied, "Yes, I will definitely save Hairi." He turned around, extending his hand. Fuma Kotaro stood in the center of the battle, completely naked, the flickering incantation light reflecting on his pale skin. Although still a child, his body was filled with firm muscles, a powerful chest. His legs and arms as well. He turned and said, "I'm about 15 or 16 years old now. This body is no longer a burden. Moreover, I can move much more smoothly now. I'm no longer that weak old man or child. Flexible muscles, clear mind, life in this world is truly mysterious and wonderful. Fuma Kotaro happily jumped and danced. BB-28 looked at him appraisingly, thinking, wow, so excited, look at that thing. He doesn't look like a hero at all, should I get him some equipment? Then he approached, patted its head, and said, I'll come to play again, BB. Its eyes lit up. Fuma Kotaro smiled brightly, alright, let's go. Seeing that smile, BB-28 suddenly remembered the moment when he was still a mischievous baby playing on its head. Then BB-28 said, you. It felt familiar. Just like when the hero Arslad patted its head and said, goodbye, I'll come to play again, BB. A moment later, BB-28 asked, you've always been worried about me, you're acting like. But before it could finish, Fuma Kotaro rushed out of the tower, his voice echoed, see you later. After he left, the tower returned to its quiet, lonely state. Only BB-28 remained. It slowly walked outside, muttering, so carefree, just like him, don't die, Fuma Kotaro. Meanwhile, he was falling freely, his body suspended in the indefinite air. Fuma Kotaro joyfully shouted, I'm no longer bound by anything. I am a ninja free, free, free. I have a purpose, I'm living for myself, I'm living for myself. However, his joy didn't last long. Suddenly, he saw a gigantic white skeleton looming before him. Fuma Kotaro was startled, slightly scared. Then he landed in a relatively flat area and used the Silent Steps Jutsu, a basic jutsu that erases the user's presence the moment they land. Where you are standing is on the horn of that skeleton. Fuma Kotaro breathed a sigh of relief. Phew, I didn't think I'd reach the ground. Wait, is this the ground? This thing suddenly appeared between the clouds, maybe I should climb down gradually. At this moment, he suddenly noticed something in the distance. What's that? A sword, a pretty sword, I'll take it. Looking at his reflection on the blade, he suddenly froze. This face, it was like an image from his past life flashing in his mind. Fuma Kotaro wondered why, since he had already been reincarnated. Why he didn't, at the same time, through some mysterious power. But now, reflecting on it, he always wondered. Ninjutsu is the pinnacle of martial arts, techniques that only minds and bodies subjected to harsh training could perform, so, I've been reincarnated into this world as a child. But thinking about it wouldn't help, I'll think as I go. After that, he nimbly jumped down, following the spinal bones. At the same time, 3 people were also standing on a section of bone. They sighed, seriously, how long is this thing, are we halfway yet? One of them replied, not even a tenth, it really is an S-rank dungeon. A girl spoke up, I'm having trouble breathing, the air is so thin here. Said, ahead of us is the legendary dragon-slaying sword, but the other 2 ignored him. Why are we even here, are you okay? Angrily shouted, shut up, are you even part of a hero team? They replied, it's just for fun, how are we supposed to climb to the top? I want to go home. I'm serious, if I get that sword, I'll become a real hero, probably. What? Suddenly, ran ahead. The next second, a giant hand grabbed onto the bone. The blurry figure of a strange creature appeared. It stood brazenly before them. Then laughed arrogantly, weak humans dare to come here for the sword, think you're playing house. The 3 of them cowered in fear, thinking, the wandering armor, we're dead. It continued, you have 3 choices, I take your food, and you die here, you leave your food and jump off, or you become my slaves. The other 2 panicked even more, the worst 3 options ever. Only spoke up, yes, we will become your slaves. At that moment, Fuma Kotaro appeared, jumping down in front of the wandering armor like a god. Still holding its sword, without knowing, he cheerfully said, hello there. The wandering armor immediately recognized the sword. The S-rank artifact, the dragon-slaying demon sword, terrifyingly powerful against dragons. The blonde girl, seeing him naked, screamed, a pervert. Exclaimed in shock, a man fell from the sky, holding a sword, the dragon slayer, the dragon-slaying sword. Fuma Kotaro grinned, I just picked it up. Their faces went blank. Picked it up. He generously offered, want it, I'll give it to you. Act's mouth dropped open, what, really, are you serious? Fuma Kotaro added a condition, in exchange, I need your clothes. His friends immediately urged Act to do it, but he hesitated, my clothes. A moment later, they had exchanged clothes. Act, holding the sword, shrunk back in embarrassment. His friend said, "You actually did it, you have no dignity." Kotaro rejoiced, "All right, now I have clothes to wear, D-rank equipment, safety cloak, D-rank equipment, traveler's outfit, D-rank equipment, adventurer's boots. Now I remember I've been naked this whole time." The blonde girl couldn't help but have a nosebleed. The brown-haired boy asked, "Are you all right, Act?" Meanwhile, the wandering armor continued to observe them, emitting strange noises. Then let out a booming laugh. "What luck, who would have thought someone would deliver the sword to me? Dragon-slaying sword, give it to me." It reached out its giant hand, causing the three to scream in terror. Wah, only Fuma Kotaro remained calm. He glanced back sharply. At this moment, a decisive sword strike cut its body in half. The sturdy iron body was destroyed swiftly, in the blink of an eye, so fast it didn't even realize. Only managing a single gasp. Fuma stared, dumbfounded, at the sword blade. His eyes widened in disbelief at what had just happened, while Act still pointed his sword at him. He wasn't his usual self, saying, "This is so exhilarating, I have to cut everything into 100 pieces, hee hee." "AAA," his two friends exclaimed in alarm. "Act, what's wrong with you?" The blonde girl guessed that the sword might have possessed him. The brown-haired boy was surprised. "Huh, is that sword cursed?" She replied, "They say if your spirit isn't strong enough, the person wielding it will go insane." At that moment, Act truly had gone mad. He raised his sword high, intending to strike down, his eyes wide, his laughter uncontrolled. However, before he could do anything, Fuma Kotaro snatched the sword away. He said, "If this cursed sword only causes madness and disaster, perhaps I should keep it." A moment later, his two friends called him back to consciousness. "Act-san, Act," he opened his eyes in confusion. "Huh." They rejoiced, "You're awake." Hearing that, Act was surprised. "Huh. You went crazy from holding that sword." "Humph, really? Huh, he's truly amazing, yet he left me behind. He must have gone through so much to be able to wield that sword." The blonde girl admired him, only thinking of Act's muscles. Act was surprised. "What?" the brown-haired boy said, "This girl's in love." At the same time, Fuma Kotaro descended to the ground. He breathed a sigh of relief. Finally, it's over. On the hill before him was the giant spinal column from earlier. He touched the green grass. Muttering a count, footprints. 5, 6, human footprints. And here, bears, not demons. I'll go in the direction with the most human footprints. If I do that, I'll reach the last bastion of humanity that Hyrie and I aimed for. Hydrat, I must get there first. He closed his eyes, focusing on his surroundings, thinking, the sounds of battle, too close. At a volcanic crater, blood flowed in streams, staining the ground crimson. Monster corpses lay scattered everywhere. One was still alive, growling. "Impossible, a human being that strong, there's someone like..." Before he could finish, a human foot stepped forward. That person tore the monster apart, and shoved it into their mouth. On her head was a giant eye, which even spoke, "Meili, where in the world are we? At least a few wolves for the belly." And she seemed to have shrunk. She replied, "Delicious." Meanwhile, Fuma Kotaro was secretly observing from afar. Hiding behind a tree, silently thinking, "They're eating monsters." Fuma Kotaro excitedly thought, "Excellent, I've found a strange one." A gust of wind blew past. He suddenly clamped his hands over his ears, his eyes wide, his expression panicked. Meanwhile, the girl's stomach rumbled, indicating she was still very hungry. Then she sat down on the ground and complained, "Still so hungry." The monster on the head said, "Meili, it seems there's still food." She looked in the direction it pointed. That was where Fuma Kotaro was standing. He cheerfully waved, "Hi, training. It reminds me of the days I ate poisonous mushrooms daily to build up immunity," he finished. When he looked up, he saw Meili standing before him at very close range. He thought to himself, "So fast, when did she get here?" She stared at him, her eyes full of longing, drooling. The monster on her head said, "Eat, Meili, I didn't expect there to be humans in this world. I thought I'd ended up in a world of only wolves. What's wrong, Meili?" She closed her eyes and said, I don't want to eat innocent humans." It jumped down, no longer clinging to her, then scolded, "Ah, what time is it, and you're still concerned about this? Wah, we've already died once." Fuma Kotaro was surprised. Died once. You also reincarnated, just like me. The monster replied, reincarnated, I guess you could call it that. Seeing someone like himself, he immediately became excited. Besides me, there's someone else, pleased to meet you. Meili was startled, stammering, I'm happy. Then she hid inside the monster, shyly saying, no, don't come closer. I'm a monster, I'll eat you. He remained silent. In his mind, he recalled the previous warnings. That was Fuma Kotaro, the monster, Then he suddenly smiled. It seems reincarnated people are all strange, don't worry, we're the same, I don't mind. Meili then poked her head out of the monster's mouth. She was surprised. Her eyes wide, her cheeks flushed with happiness. Fuma Kotaro saw her staring at him for so long without shaking hands, he felt a little awkward. Wait, what about shaking hands? She flustered and explained, my body acts on its own, I really can't get close to anyone. Ugh. At that moment, the shadow of a giant monster with 4 glowing eyes lunged from behind him. Baring its sharp teeth and long tongue, you killed my brothers, unforgivable, unforgivable, it was a werewolf. Fuma Kotaro didn't need to turn around to sense the killing intent. However, before he could do anything, something whizzed past. Meili excitedly exclaimed with shining eyes, food for me. Then she easily killed the monster. Fuma Kotaro watched the scene. Couldn't help but laugh, he thought to himself, she's really interesting. Then he asked, now that I think of it, I still don't know your name. I'm Fuma Kotaro. Meili suddenly became scarier than ever. She said, we eat those who harm humanity. Predator, my title is Little Red Riding Hood, human hunting Little Red Riding Hood. You reincarnated as a red scarf San, Fuma exclaimed, you ate so well, not leaving even a bone. Then I'll go, I'm in a hurry, I feel like we've met somewhere before. She stared at him in surprise for a moment, her cheeks suddenly flushed. Me, I feel the same, maybe one day I will have you. She remembered the words of the people she had met before. We fight because there's something we want to protect, because we don't want to lose our friends. We've been this strong. Then, stammering, I also. Still no good, I'll end up eating them again, goodbye. Fuma Kotaro found her a little strange. East of Mount Senshin, near Hydrate, the scene was utterly desolate. At the El Rado city walls, 3 figures approached. They stood before an old man, who pleaded desperately, please don't kill me. They said to each other, the El Rado city walls, they've destroyed the entire city. Why would former heroes do such a thing? East of Mount Senshin, near Hydrate, the sky was clear, the bright sunlight shining everywhere, seemingly peaceful. But in stark contrast to the sky, the town below was nothing but a desolate ruin, a place that once thrived. Now, only ruins remained, the town was devastated, the ground collapsed, fires raged everywhere, every branch, every blade of grass, every house was burned to ashes. Kotaro stood silently on the cliff, the wind blowing his cloak as he gazed sadly at the town. Beyond was a dark, terrifyingly cold expanse, countless humans lay there. He looked up at the sky and wondered, the town and the land have collapsed, what happened? Looking at the surrounding scene, he could only close his eyes and sigh. Suddenly, sounds from afar broke the silence. He listened intently. Hasty footsteps echoed through the smoke and fire. A young girl with green hair was desperately running, tears and sweat streaming down her small face. She cried for help, her voice hoarse with fear, help. The surroundings were like hell, smoke and fire enveloped everything, fresh blood spilled everywhere, a terrifying sound echoed, kill, a scream of terror followed, someone. A monstrous creature appeared, baring its gruesome teeth, die, it shrieked, followed by a savage laugh, Jaya ha ha ha. Kotaro's eyes instantly changed, bloodshot and filled with rage, he gritted his teeth, each word burning with anger, demons, so many people have been killed, so this is their leader. A blonde girl, with a creature clinging to her back, peeked at him from behind a rock. He noticed her, he wondered, I've run almost 1,500 kilometers, how did he still catch up? Compared to when he first discovered the demons, his eyes were now calmer. He suddenly turned and said loudly, startling the girl, if you want, you can come with me, no need to hide like that. The exposed girl panicked, not knowing what to do. He knows, what do I do, what should I do? The creature clinging to her back spoke, you should honestly say you want to be friends, Cuckoo. She was terrified, her face turning purple. No, no, I'll eat him, I'll really eat him, unconsciously. Kotaro reassured her with a smile, don't worry about that. His face was now cheerful, a wide smile on his face. I'm stronger than you, you can't eat me. The girl was silent. Her eyes widened in surprise. Kotaro turned, his cloak billowing, if you want, let's go. Kotaro's face reverted to its previous serious expression, there's someone I need to save. The girl was even more surprised by this information. Amidst the desolate ruins, blood and fire filled everything. The green-haired girl continued to run, ha. Along with her older sister, both their clothes were tattered, their faces dirty with mud. The girl tripped over a rock and fell. Her sister anxiously turned back, Emile. She sat on the ground, gasping for breath. Ugh, awful. Her sister anxiously approached. Emile, are you all right? Let's go. Emile helplessly said loudly, go anywhere, pretty sure hydrate is not better. The older sister hesitated, not daring to confirm that. Emile stood up strongly and wanted to rush out to fight. He will fight, there is no more place to hide. The panicked older sister stopped him. Don't be reckless, Emile, we are not strong enough to confront the demon race. The two sisters' faces suddenly turned pale, something terrifying had just appeared. A three-headed monster with a grotesque body was approaching, its three mouths simultaneously shrieked, damn it, so infuriating, unforgivable, this is the sixth of the 10 demons, Deporapopper. The three large mouths argued amongst themselves, why should we stay here cleaning up after them, those newcomers are leveling up way too fast. The power from the Demon King's pact is proportional to the darkness in one's heart. Are they all demons in human disguise? I have the blood of a god in my veins, just like the Demon King. I'm also a demon god, albeit a flawed product. Don't say that. Oh, whatever. Whatever, killing humans is so real. It raised 2 fingers and began to cast a demonic spell. A green beam of energy shot out, blowing up the sister's upper body. Emile was terrified, his eyes wide, his face drained of blood. The sister's lower body fell to the ground. At that moment, her eyes widened, filled with both extreme horror and immense rage. Sister. The monster laughed loudly, hee, that's the expression you should have, you have to kill them one by one like this, hee. A feeling of panic and despair overwhelmed Emile. Oh. She lost her mind, focused her power, and charged towards the monster to avenge her sister. She unleashed a palm strike at the monster, a fire spell. The monster stood still, not bothering to dodge. The weak attack was like a mosquito biting a rock, leaving not a single scratch on its skin. The monster looked down on Emile. Such low-level magic isn't even enough to tickle me. It angrily prepared to strike, aiming to instantly kill Emile. Die, you fly. She gritted her teeth, helpless. Tears streamed down her face as she could only curse, damn it, damn it. The girl stopped crying, her eyes wide with astonishment at what was happening before her. The monster, engulfed in flames, didn't understand what was happening. A fire of unknown origin suddenly erupted, fiercely burning the monster. The flames grew stronger, the monster couldn't escape and could only scream in agony and despair. Jaya. Emile, witnessing this scene, froze like a statue. Kotaro approached. He coldly spoke, don't burn to death yet, I have questions. The monster, submerged in flames, was also surprised. Ah, it roared angrily, who are you, who are you? Kotaro didn't bother to answer, he only wanted answers to his question, if you're one of the 10 demons, where are the others? The monster didn't answer, instead asking Kotaro, why are you asking me? Kotaro slowly turned, warning it, let me tell you, don't harbor killing intent towards me. The monster didn't understand. Kotaro looked at the monster, his eyes bloodshot and filled with killing intent. If you dare harbor killing intent, I will kill you. The monster looked at him doubtfully. Then it burst into laughter. Ha, who will kill whom? Interesting, then, let's try. It focused its power, intending to kill Kotaro. Die. Kotaro didn't show any fear, he just stood there, looking at it. Kotaro's eyes were like hellfire, he stood still, looking at the monster, and gravely uttered, blop. A green beam of energy flew towards him, cutting him in half like a piece of thin paper. That was the monster's attack. Kotaro's body fell to the ground in 2 pieces. The monster was incredibly arrogant, laughing wildly, ha, a calf trying to eat a bull, all talk and no action, but the next second, its expression changed. What, Kotaro's body parts on the ground were slowly moving, the air was filled with an eerie aura. In the blink of an eye, he stood above the monster with eyes like fire and a flowing cloak. "Let you see what I want you to see." The monster looked up, unable to believe what had just happened. "What the hell? Show me what you want, I've never heard of such magic." He had used his eyes to cast a ninja technique, Blood Eyes. Blood Eyes is a basic ninja technique that causes the opponent to fall into illusion and panic. The monster, refusing to yield, roared in defiance, "You think you can? I'll kill you." Its 8-fingered hands moved simultaneously. Orbs of magical energy gathered at its fingertips, glittering like stars. Then it swung its arm, creating a giant magic power that attacked Kotaro straight. He quickly neutralized it. Not forgetting to sarcastically say, "Too slow," the monster was stunned. It continued its attack, but Kotaro used instant teleportation to escape, infuriating the monster. The monster raged, continuously creating massive energy barriers, wanting to destroy Kotaro, but unable to touch him. Kotaro moved nimbly, exclaiming, as expected, "This is the age where my body reaches its peak, I can move without fatigue, all the anxieties of being a child are over." Kotaro stopped teleporting and gently floated upward. The monster was confused. Kotaro opened his mouth wide, performed a ninjutsu technique, then clenched his jaw as golden rays shot out. Inferno. A brilliant pillar of fire descended from the sky, striking the monster and shattering the surrounding area. The monster, trapped in the flames, couldn't escape and received a fatal blow. Its body was gradually consumed by the flames. Kotaro coldly turned and walked away. "What a waste of time, I need to hurry." Before dying, the monster revealed a shocking secret. "Let me tell you something interesting, the 4 heroes destroyed this place." He paused, slightly confused. The monster continued, "The Demon King is so cunning, he manipulated the former heroes into destroying humanity's last stronghold. They're all bound by the Demon King's contract, there's no way to save them." It laughed triumphantly. Kukuk. Kotaro received the answer he sought, so Hyrie and Miria have fallen into the Demon King's hands, then it's simple. His cold, murderous gaze remained fixed on the monster. "I just need to kill the Demon King." The burning monster sneered, "Cuckoo, that one was born from the laws outside this world, the world truly." The monster struggled to utter its last words, small then it was completely incinerated, turning to ash. He ignored the monster and walked towards Emile. Emile knelt on the ground, holding up a sword. "I'm sorry, you dropped this." He was startled and dumbfounded. "What the heck, since when? It's not that hard to hold, is it?" He then asked Emile in surprise, "You don't feel anything holding this sword?" Emile was equally dumbfounded. She looked at the sword in her hand. She softly asked, "I'm sorry, how do I become as strong as you?" Her eyes held deep sadness. "If I were stronger, I could have protected her." She slammed her foot on the ground, consumed by furious anger. Kotaro's eyes returned to their usual blue. He smiled warmly. He quickly decided, "Then I'll give you the sword." Emile was shocked and incredulous. "Really, are you sure?" The ground suddenly shook. Kotaro was completely clueless and puzzled. "What's going on?" Emile looked up tremblingly. "It's coming again." A gigantic fireball fell from the sky. Emile screamed, "Ah, it's here." Kotaro nervously watched the falling fireball. What is that?" Emile fearfully clenched her teeth. "Just like the city, it'll be destroyed in an instant. This time, it's heading towards Hydrat." The fireball continued its descent at the speed of light. People called it the ancient meteor magic, a spell only sages could cast. It drew closer and closer to the ground. Kotaro entered combat mode again, calling out Hyrie's name. Another battle was about to begin. The fireball continued its descent at the speed of light. People called it the ancient meteor magic, a spell only sages could cast. It drew closer and closer to the ground. Hydrat, humanity's last stronghold, the royal palace, was consumed by flames. Buildings were severely damaged. The monsters happily roamed around hunting and killing humans. Inside the city gate, soldiers bravely held their ground. "Hold the gate, leave the wounded, get inside." The remaining soldiers tried to evacuate the living, knowing the line between life and death was razor thin amidst the chaos. A little girl saw her father stuck and cried out in fear, "Dad." The father knew the situation was dangerous and could not delay, so he urged, "Go, I will come." The girl broke free from a soldier's grasp, crying loudly as she ran to her father, "Yua." The father was pinned under a large boulder, unable to move, his arms around his daughter, his helplessness was palpable. The girl sat in her father's arms, crying incessantly like a frightened fledgling. As father and daughter clung to each other, two dark figures appeared behind them. Two green monsters, weapons in hand, grinned wickedly, killing humans, he. The father felt a chill run down his spine. This day has finally come, he thought anxiously, will we be annihilated by the demons? He froze. He saw a fireball speeding toward them from the distant sky. As it drew closer, his curiosity grew. What is that? At that moment, Kotaro dashed forward like a gust of wind. His form was indistinct, only the sound of his feet pounding the earth could be heard. He wanted to move as quickly as possible before the meteor destroyed everything. He ran, observing the meteor's speed. He worried, at this rate, I won't be able to stop it. He raised his hand, performing a hand seal, his jutsu activated, lightning-like energy surging around his arm, super speed jutsu. An explosion sounded. Golden lightning shot into Kotaro's legs, boosting his power. Super speed is an advanced jutsu that channels the body's electricity into the legs, causing a temporary burst of leg strength. Kotaro shot forward like a flash of lightning. He was so fast, only a trail of golden lightning marked his path. In a moment, he reached his destination, swiftly dismembering the two small demons. He stopped, his back a picture of strength. He stood before the unfortunate father and daughter, like a protective god. The father thought he was hallucinating. What? His voice stammered. He just ripped them apart in an instant. Who are you? But he remembered something more important. Right, the meteor. We have to run, warn everyone. Kotaro turned to look at the father and daughter. He quickly approached, startling them. He touched the surface of the boulder. As he gathered his strength, he reassured the wide-eyed father and daughter. It's all right, don't worry about me, the father said. Even 10 grown men couldn't move that boulder. Kotaro didn't respond, gently lifting the boulder with one hand, freeing the trapped father. Father and daughter's eyes widened in identical shock. Kotaro thought, I came here to save Hairi, but I saved this city without realizing it. Memories flooded back. The image of Hairi, with her gentle smile, appeared. She had taught him so much. The boulder left Kotaro's hand, soaring into the air. Using his charged jutsu, he threw his arm forcefully. The charged boulder flew straight toward the meteor. Charged jutsu is an advanced technique that infuses biological electricity into matter. The two objects collided, creating a massive explosion in the air, emitting a blinding flash of light. Above the palace, the light from the explosion shone like the sun. The father and daughter witnessed the miracle, their faces awestruck. The soldiers felt as if they had witnessed a miracle. Kotaro stood, bathed in the light. He smiled at the light. She let me know I'm not alone anymore, he thought. The father shouted and appeared. Finally, the hero. From within the veil of light a meteor shower suddenly fell. Not far away, on a rocky outcrop, a cloaked figure was walking. The figure stopped, looking slightly perplexed. Then raised a hand and cast a spell, drawing a few circles in the air. A green magic circle appeared. The cloaked figure whispered, meteor shower magic. Kotaro arrived just in time to intervene, stopping. The mysterious figure turned, revealing a familiar face. Kotaro seemed to have guessed it was Hairi. After flying to the area where the meteor shower magic had been cast, Kotaro softly called out, Hairi. Seeing the person before her, Hairi Titania's pupils constricted in surprise. Hairi Titania now let her long green hair cover almost half her face. Her eyes, brimming with unshed tears, showed her joy. She softly called out, Kotaro-sama. Two people who were once close, now faced each other in an unexpected reunion. Hairi Titania broke the silence between them. She moved her lips slightly, saying, Sir Kotaro, I'm sorry, I. Sensing Hairi Titania's distress, Kotaro softly called, Hairi. A strong gust of wind blew, causing both their cloaks to billow on the tower top. Hairi Titania whispered, her dark emotions flooding out like a torrent, resentment. This made Kotaro feel resentment because Hairi Titania herself had uttered the word resentment. Hairi Titania's small mouth began to quiver, blue and red veins bulging on her face. Her voice now stammered uncontrollably, I hate humanity. I can't control myself. I must destroy them, or they will manipulate me again. Hairi Titania cried out in panic. clutching her head in anguish. Hyrie Titania's eyes grew wild, her voice distorted. Suddenly, she cried out and then whispered frantically, I must kill them, I'm going crazy. Seeing Hyrie Titania's strange behavior, Fuma Kotaro felt a pang of worry. His eyes hardened with resentment. Fuma Kotaro silently observed Hyrie Titania, thinking it was the influence of the pact. She couldn't control her emotions. Suddenly, Fuma Kotaro called out, Hyrie, then he took measured steps towards her. In utter panic, Hyrie Titania screamed, stay back. Simultaneously, she cast a magic circle, aiming to attack Fuma Kotaro. She yelled, if you want to stop me, then kill me, Kotaro. Having said that, Hyrie Titania unleashed Hellfire Karma, a fierce blaze that surged towards Fuma Kotaro. The flames grew larger, engulfing both of them in a fiery inferno. But Hyrie Titania intensified the flames, shattering the ground where she stood. She gradually began to retract the flames. But the heat remained intense, the fire still burning. Hyrie Titania stopped intensifying the hellfire magic. The wind from the flames caused her cloak to flutter, but she stood alone. From behind, Fuma Kotaro strode towards her, his cloak burned and tattered, caught in the wind. Fuma Kotaro's body gradually moved into Hyrie Titania's hellfire. Realizing something was amiss, Hyrie Titania glanced back and saw Fuma Kotaro behind her. In a panic, Hyrie Titania began to cast a barrage of spells directly at Fuma Kotaro, continuing. The flames burned fiercely, without stopping. Fuma Kotaro reappeared, calmly walking step by step towards Hyrie Titania. Fuma Kotaro softly said, you're not using your full power, Hyrie, I understand. Hyrie Titania immediately turned to Fuma Kotaro and prepared to cast magic again. Suddenly, Hyrie Titania's pupils constricted. She softly called, Kotaro-sama. Fuma Kotaro spoke as he approached Hyrie Titania, you taught me so much, thanks to you, I. Before he could finish, Fuma Kotaro enveloped Hyrie Titania's trembling body in a warm embrace, lifting her high into the air because of his height. At this, Hyrie Titania was speechless with surprise. He whispered into Hyrie Titania's hand to reassure her, it's okay, I will kill the Demon King and free you. This sentence made Hyrie Titania stunned. Once again, she opened her eyes wide in surprise. Fuma Kotaro's affection, concern, and previous words soothed Hyrie Titania's small heart. Tears welled up in her eyes. Suddenly, something flashed past overhead in a blink of an eye. The hero Arslad swooped down, plunging his blade through the bodies of Fuma Kotaro and Hyrie Titania. Blood splattered everywhere. Simultaneously, Fuma Kotaro's pupils dilated, and a stream of blood flowed from his mouth. Hyrie Titania fared no better. Fuma Kotaro hugged Hyrie Titania tightly, letting out a pained cry. What? Fuma Kotaro was stunned by the sudden turn of events. Blood continued to flow from both their bodies. The scene before them was both bloody and romantic, two bodies embracing, impaled by a single blade. Hero Arslad spoke, you're no ordinary human. Hyrie Titania, with a weak breath, called out Fuma Kotaro's name, Kotaro-sama. Fuma Kotaro roared, Hyrie. In the distance, another person appeared, witnessing everything unfold without offering any assistance. This person wore a revealing outfit, had a scarred face and cat ears, and wielded two large swords. She was Miria Barbatos, one of the four great heroes. Miria Barbatos let out a sardonic chuckle. From this side, Fuma Kotaro angrily gritted his teeth. His eyes radiated intense killing intent. He glared behind him and growled, you, after being impaled along with Hyrie Titania by Arslad's terrifying blade. Fuma Kotaro's eyes widened in furious indignation. He glared at the person, his facial veins bulging. He growled, you, severing technique. Now, Fuma Kotaro turned to attack Miria Barbatos. He grabbed the blade and pulled it free, his fiery eyes blazed. Without hesitation, Fuma Kotaro hurled Arslad towards the cliff while pulling out the sword. A large hole remained in Fuma Kotaro and Hyrie Titania's bodies, and blood continued to flow. Fuma Kotaro's eyes drooped, and he spat out a mouthful of blood. He silently berated himself, I was careless, damn it. His eyes burned with even greater anger. No, not just that, I can't sense any killing intent. Hero Arslad suddenly appeared beside Hyrie Titania. He said, I didn't expect you to still be standing with that wound. Indeed, you're no ordinary person. Hyrie, was she a child back then? Hyrie Titania slumped to the ground, struggling to stay conscious, she cast a magic circle, using restorative magic on the hole in her abdomen. Immediately, the wound healed, the hole disappeared without a trace. Receiving no answer from Hyrie Titania, Arslad didn't care. He coldly stated, "Whatever, I'll exterminate humanity anyway." Suddenly, a dark streak descended from above towards Fuma Kotaro. A glimmer of alertness appeared in Fuma Kotaro's eyes. He glared at the approaching dark shadow. In the blink of an eye, Miria Barbatos swung her blood-soaked swords directly at Fuma Kotaro, who was kneeling from his abdominal wound. Her face was filled with killing intent, as if she had put all her strength into the strike. Rocks and dirt flew everywhere. Miria Barbatos' eyes were bloodshot, but her reaction was one of slight surprise. The cliff where Fuma Kotaro had been standing was shattered into pieces, and he had vanished before the three of them. This was the reason for her surprise. The towering city walls were now in ruins, partly destroyed by Hyrie Titania and partly by Arslad. In the far distance, Fuma Kotaro's figure appeared. He had quickly jumped underground. Fuma Kotaro's wounds were still bleeding. Exhausted, he let out a few groans. He thought again, no killing intent, this is going to be difficult. A hint of doubt flickered in his eyes, as if he were fighting a puppet. To prevent his wounds from worsening and to regulate his rhythm, Fuma Kotaro softly closed his eyes, adjusting his breathing and staunching the bleeding. After his breathing had steadied, Fuma Kotaro used a restorative jutsu to heal the puncture wound inflicted by Arslad's blade. In a blink, Fuma Kotaro's body sealed the hole in his stomach. With the restorative jutsu, Fuma Kotaro thought, restoration is a basic jutsu that increases metabolic rate, allowing the body to heal wounds and illnesses. Hero Arslad, proving his title as the 10 Demons number 2 wasn't empty, instantly appeared behind Fuma Kotaro from the top of the wall. His face darkened, and he spoke coldly, "What kind of magic did you use? What you used is truly strange." Fuma Kotaro glanced at the insolent man behind him and scoffed, "Magic? I don't need miracles, extreme training, the abandonment of identity, only those who don't lose their sanity can master jutsu." Arslad immediately retorted, "Wrong," he sneered. His eyes were bloodshot and lifeless. "You mastered jutsu because you believe in yourself and your goal, right? Magic is the same." This statement caused a flicker of emotion in Fuma Kotaro's eyes. He remembered old memories from his innocent childhood with a friend, their smiles still bright and cheerful. The two of them had sat atop a mountain, watching the sun together. Fuma Kotaro said softly, "My target, maybe you're right, my current target is." Suddenly the flames from Fuma Kotaro's body burst out. Fuma Kotaro's face darkened. He spoke in a harsh warning tone, "Rescue Hyrie, and if you dare obstruct me, I'll kill you." The hero Arslad sneered, "Rescue? Jump in and fight, I'll chop you to pieces." He laughed loudly, the veins on his face bulging as he charged forward, attacking Fuma Kotaro with his blade. The hero Arslad's eyes changed, turning crimson red. The energy he emitted caused his hair, cloak, and even the surrounding rocks to fly into the air. Arslad began to cast a damage-amplifying spell. Not to be outdone by the number 2 demon, Fuma Kotaro also began to use his ninjutsu, the Demon Fire Ninjutsu. A brilliant golden flame erupted in an instant. The figures of the two were no longer visible to the naked eye, only black streaks flashing past. The hero Arslad leaped forward. Fuma Kotaro followed suit, charging in to attack. A series of explosions echoed, along with bursts of light continuously moving across the sky. The two continued their one-on-one fight. During the clash, they faced each other for a few seconds. The hero Arslad continuously used magic to attack Fuma Kotaro. The hero Arslad was enveloped by Fuma Kotaro's demon flames. His face darkened as he said, "Ninjutsu, how mysterious. I don't sense any magical power, and it doesn't even require incantations." All he saw was a blazing inferno. He continued, "But both magic and ninjutsu originate from human potential, perhaps their origins are the same." Arslad repeated this, but his words didn't seem to register with Fuma Kotaro, who looked somewhat confused. Suddenly, something zipped past at incredible speed. It struck Fuma Kotaro, causing blood to spray. Fuma Kotaro's eyes widened in surprise. A soft voice echoed, "Fong sword." The cut was inflicted by Miria Barbatos. Her state was unchanged, still furious, her eyes bloodshot and filled with rage. She screamed, "You can't defeat us, give up." As he fell from the air, a fireball suddenly appeared, striking Fuma Kotaro directly. The ball swallowed and stabbed into him, pushing Fuma Kotaro to the ground. The area cracked open. Hyrie Titania cried out loudly, "A big fireball." The one who cast the fireball was Hyrie Titania. She softly whispered, "I'm sorry, Kotaro-sama." A thick column of black smoke rose from below. Fuma Kotaro's face was weary, blood gushing from his mouth. He gritted his teeth. They all attacked him, yet without killing intent. They said they would kill him, that they hated him, but they truly lacked killing intent. A strong wind blew, sending dust swirling. Fuma Kotaro observed for a moment and silently speculated. They were resisting a contract. All three of them, as if. Fuma Kotaro looked at the hero Arslad's lifeless face. He was slightly stunned. They were attacking him to kill themselves. At this moment, Hyrie Titania's face and Miria Barbatos were no better. Fuma Kotaro was furious. He cursed inwardly, "Damn it, what do I do?" The black smoke gradually dissipated, leaving behind a hazy gray mist. From the distance, the hero Arslad burst through the smoke, swinging his blade at Fuma Kotaro's neck. He began to cast the Devil's Light/Magic, a powerful energy radiating from him. On the other hand, Fuma Kotaro was not to be outdone. Despite being cut several times, his strength still persisted. They clashed like a storm, their energies, half purple, half gold, colliding, creating immense friction. The hero Arslad, while attacking Fuma Kotaro, excitedly said, "I'm so happy, I've been waiting for a strong opponent like you for a long time." Fuma Kotaro, in turn, responded with an equally delighted smile. Hero Arsladad said loudly, "Yes, I have been waiting for someone to kill me." His pupils suddenly constricted. In the memory of the hero Arsladad, it was a peaceful, beautiful place, fireworks and joyful greetings. They included Miria Barbatos, the hero Arslad, Hyrie Titania, and even the magic puppet BB-28, walking among the people. The mood and emotions were joyful and proud. At that time, the people on both sides of the street excitedly cheered, calling them heroes. "Hero, hooray for the hero." But those glorious things faded with time, youth, and strength. The hero Arslad then lived like a wandering ghost. Even while walking, he accidentally bumped into a thug, who angrily scolded him, "What kind of way is that to walk? Get out of the way." The hero Arslad was then beaten and insulted in the street. The surrounding people gathered, and whispers and gossip began. "Disgusting, so dirty, an adventurer, my God, is that a beggar, ugh." But despite this defamation, the hero Arslad endured, for he always told himself that he would always watch over this world. Surely, danger would come again. In his dire straits, he overheard important information in the gossip. "Did you hear? There's a monster in the West Continent." These words reached the ears of the hero Arsladad. He glanced at the person who just spoke and thought that the opportunity he had been waiting for had come. The hero Arslad made up his mind. This was his mission, this was what he had been taught. After that, the hero Arslad went to the west of the continent to find that monster. It had a pair of strange eyes, golden inside and out, the pupils were red. And for a man out of time like him, losing to a powerful monster was understandable. Before Arslad, the monster appeared in a horrifying form, 2 eyes and a third in the center of its forehead, sharp teeth bared in a repulsive grin. That monster was Jura, the current demon king. Opposite Jura was Arslad's weary, blood-stained face. Jura then made a pact, controlling Arslad, Hyrie Titania, and Miria Barbatos through magical circles around their necks. Jura issued a bloody command, "Kill. Kill humanity, from their human blood dyes the village red." Arslad constantly reminded himself, "You're just being used." His eyes were always filled with resentment. Memories flooded back, the people of the last stronghold, their cheerfulness and exuberance. "Arslad, you're amazing, you'll surely become a hero, the pride of our village." Young Arslad's innocent eyes widened as he received everyone's trust. From then on, Arslad silently vowed, "The strong must protect the weak and grow stronger. I'm the most unusual person. I'm brave, I must become a hero." Young Arslad silently told himself this. But Jura completely shattered Arslad's faith. The demon said, "No, you're just being used." Tears welled up in Arslad's bright eyes. His soul was tainted by the pact, clouding his mind. He knew he had killed the very people he wanted to protect. The battleground between Arslad and Fuma Kotaro blazed with demonic fire and purple lightning from the Devil's Light/. Arslad had thought, deep down, Kill those who use you. Arslad realized these terrible thoughts were the Pact's influence, the Pact controlling his mind. Give up being a hero, give up being a hero. Arslad wanted to end this tragedy. He screamed at Fuma Kotaro, kill me, kill me. Before Arslad, Fuma Kotaro plunged down from above. Hyrie Titania looked up from afar, sharing the same thought, Sir Kotaro, please kill me. Miria Barbatos felt the same, her teeth clenched, glaring at Fuma Kotaro, silently hoping he could kill her. In an instant, Arslad and Hyrie Titania both rushed before Fuma Kotaro. He thought, there's no information on the Demon King's whereabouts, this is the only way to stop them, to kill them. Fuma Kotaro's eyes flickered with doubt, can killing them truly free them? Then, Fuma Kotaro unleashed his ninjutsu. The Fuma's 12 forbidden techniques, self-immolation, saliva spurted from his mouth, forming explosive charges. Explosions of varying sizes erupted in succession. A large crater appeared in the earth. Fuma Kotaro emerged from the flames, his face contorted in anger. Regarding the jutsu just used, self-immolation is a ninjutsu superior to demonic fire. It continuously releases a viscous substance that detonates, incinerating everything within a radius of several hundred meters around the user. However, this forbidden technique places an immense burden on the body. Fuma Kotaro stood silently in the center of the crater he'd created, flames still licking around him. Hyrie Titania lay still, Miria Barbatos lay still. Suddenly, a voice echoed, a bunch of useless fools, enough. Space ripped apart, the eye deep within Arslad's subconscious, the one that longed to end this tragedy, appeared, screamed, and vanished. The magic circle around Hyrie Titania's neck tightened, constricting her breath, causing a pained groan. Seeing Hyrie Titania's reaction, Fuma Kotaro cried out in alarm, Hyrie. Hyrie Titania smiled contentedly, she softly called out, Kotaro-sama. Thank you for freeing us. Hyrie Titania's face softened. Fuma Kotaro was utterly distraught, bordering on panic. He desperately searched his memories, page by page, for a way to save them. He struggled hopelessly. Suddenly, Fuma Kotaro remembered Arslad's words, ninjutsu is so mysterious, I don't feel any magical power, I don't even need incantations. Arslad had also said, but both ninjutsu and magic originate from human potential, perhaps their roots are the same. At the time, he didn't understand Arslad's rambling. But combining what Hyrie Titania had done to save him, the destruction of her necklace, a tremendous power surged, he remembered it all. Now, Fuma Kotaro unleashed his ninjutsu, Sacred Ice Seal. Fuma Kotaro bowed his head, thinking, no matter how you look at it, ninjas are expendable pawns, freedom, and even a name, I can't have them while I'm a ninja.